Hi, everyone. Welcome to 1v1. I'm joined today by Kaplan, the Sentinels coach, and Sentinels are coming off their victory over Loud in the VCT Americas Kickoff final. So, Kaplan, how are you feeling?
Feeling good. Happy. Very happy.
Yeah.
Proud, tired. Yeah.
How satisfied are you with your team's performance, just all kickoff? I mean, you guys went from losing to Loud 0-2 to now beating them 3-2 in the final.
Yeah, I'm incredibly proud of us. We grew a lot game to game, and I think we've really not only improved a lot in game, but really improved a lot out of game in terms of how do we control our team's energy, our team's atmosphere, stuff like that. Be good teammates to each other. How are we talking? Things like that. We just, I'd love a little more consistency. We hit some bumpy points, but we really know how to come back from them. That's awesome to see.
Mm-hmm. When was the last time, if ever, that you went to Game 5 in a best of 5?
That was my second ever BO5. My first was in a Freaka TV tournament in Korea in December, and definitely the first time I've ever gone to Game 5, yeah.
So I know that you guys obviously had that match yesterday, and then you had to prep for this match. So, I mean, how much sleep did you get last night?
I got 4 hours. Yeah.
How much prep were you able to do for Loud and with such a short turnaround?
I watched their split a lot last night, including watching back our split game against them. I watched their sunset a lot, and then Drew took on the bind, and then he did a really good job with Icebox. In fact, just to kind of really get as much as he could out of Icebox during our split game, he actually wasn't in the room with me. He went to the ready room to finish the Icebox prep for map 3, so that was pretty sweet.
Definitely. So I know one of the things that has been talked about a lot with Sentinels is just how many games, how many rounds you guys have been playing. So my math is correct. You guys played 21 maps in kickoff and 429 rounds.
Wow.
What's your reaction when you hear that?
That is wild. It is wild, but pretty awesome that we could do that and come out on top. I think that says a lot, both about, how well we can sustain good energy, as well as, I think we've done a really good job being self-aware of our own gaps, leveling up our game, knowing how do we need to play a comp different against, we've been really adaptive, and otherwise we wouldn't have won, right?
Mm-hmm. I know that some people were saying that, with how much you guys have played, there's a lot of anti-stratting that teams can do. But, I mean, do you think it was sort of an advantage, just all of the games that you guys have played, just even going back to off season, you guys have played so much. So how much has that helped you guys kind of come together as a team?
Yeah, I think it's done a lot. Obviously, we've gotten to know each other a ton through how much we played in the off season. We know our quirks, we know our issues, we know what things we've needed to fix, and we have fixed them. And then strategically, look at our split. We played it a bunch in Korea, and I think we really figured out how our comp works, how to play the map before we ever came into the season. And then people just keep trying to pick it on us. But the playbook for it has gotten so deep, and we've gotten such a good sense of how we can play differently against different opponents that, if we hadn't been able to play around with that in December in off season, I don't think we would have been on the streak we've been with that map.
Mm-hmm. 2 players I wanted to get your thoughts on: Zellsis and johnqt. They're the 2 new additions this year. With Zellsis, everybody talks about how he keeps the vibes up, and with johnqt, obviously his leadership, and I know you and him go way back. So kind of what is your take on those 2 players and what they bring to this team?
Yeah, they both are leaders and captains in different senses. So John is a very composed guy. He's always dialed in on the strategy. He's a calming presence because he's so even-keeled. I think that kind of anchors the team, keeps us from getting too wild because the person driving the strategy is really even-keeled, and working with me. He also is just really thoughtful about systems, the way we practice, things like that. So he's really involved in that. And then Jordan, Zellsis, has just been an incredible addition as a captain. He really knows how to work with John and I, give us the space strategically, but also just push the team energetically. I mean, he does so much. I've never seen such a good teammate in my entire life in esports. Really good guy who takes care of everyone on the team and cares so much. There's a lot of maps that we won thanks to John's IGLing. The split yesterday was the best series, the best defense I've ever seen him call. He was lights out on Sunset today, and then that last map, we were pretty low energy, and I was having a hard time kind of getting us to wake up for map 5, and then he just went totally silly and crazy before the map went live, like just yelling for minutes, making us all laugh. That's why we won. I mean, we wouldn't have won if it weren't for him picking the energy up. So.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because it's like you guys were up 2-0 and then allowed to come back and win those 2 maps. I mean, what did you tell the team in between, before map 5?
Yeah, so usually we gotta chill out a bit. We get a bit overheated, and or a bit kind of defeated and inconfident. We're usually not lazy or tired or kind of not having enough energy in that way. That was kind of a unique problem of it's been a really long 2 weeks and it's a BO5. So I was really pushing us on binds to just like do everything we can to bring the energy up. Whenever we win a good round, yell, and whenever we lose, hey, nice try, fist bumps, and just really working on that. And then saying, hey, for map 5, like these games swing so much in best of 5s because one team gets tired, one team doesn't.
Right.
I don't know. It's hard. Like I can tell us what we need to do, but I'm not the guy on the team that's going to just start screaming to like. I could say we got to get the ball rolling, but I need a player to actually get it rolling, and that's where I think Zellsis really came in and took it home.
Awesome. So I wanted to take a step back and learn a little bit more about your background.
Sure.
So came across your LinkedIn page and I saw that you went to school at Colorado and then University of Washington for a bit. So kind of where did you grow up, and then kind of how did you get involved in esports and Valorant specifically?
Yeah, I grew up in New England, outside Boston, New Hampshire, and some years in Maine and summers in Maine, and then sort of bounced around and ended up settling down for my 20s in Seattle. And I met my wife there, and I went to University of Washington there and got a degree in psychology and was interested in getting back into esports. I'd played like Counter-Strike on teams since I'd like been 13, but I took a break from gaming for a few years. And my brother, his handle is Shake. He was a professional Overwatch player who then turned Overwatch coach. And I saw how well he did that and just was really inspired. And so I wanted to find my in esports. It's really smart to get into an esport when it's young. It's a lot easier to do. So when Project A got announced, I was just like, that'll be my thing. I just graduated college a little bit before, and went for that path of pro to coach.
Makes sense. I also noticed on your profile that you said that you're forever a student of psychology. So I was wondering kind of how that outlook on psychology kind of impacts your coaching, because I know that a lot of the game is obviously mental.
Yeah. I try to study on the best ways to motivate teams, but frankly, a lot of it just comes from experimentation and intuition and being real critical and thinking back on things I could have done differently to motivate the team. And growing up around great leaders, my dad's always been a leader his whole life, so I got to see that. And yeah, I definitely I don't study psychology in a very rigid way anymore, but it's the best part of my job, and it's the reason I love my job. It's understanding the team and how everyone feels at any given time and how to kind of lead them based on how they're feeling and get them to know how to bond and connect and communicate.
Awesome. Well, you're doing a really great job.
Thank you very much.
So looking forward now, you guys have qualified for Madrid. So just kind of what are your thoughts and feelings about having qualified for that, international LAN?
Thrilled and proud. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Korea was so much fun. And honestly, before we made Madrid, that's really what I wanted. I was like, oh my gosh, we're one series away from being able to go compete internationally together and just have fun and see a new part of the world. And this team is so much fun to do that with. So I really wanted to win for that reason more than anything, that kind of experience. And yeah, excited to prove what we're capable of internationally. Excited to show that the way we competed internationally in Korea wasn't a fluke, wasn't just an off-season thing. And we got a lot to clean up on if we want to win it. But we're going to get to work even this coming week before we fly out. So
yeah, I was going to ask, what do the next 10, 11 days look like for you? It's a pretty short turnaround.
Yeah, probably getting out there to Madrid, I imagine, in something like a week. So we're going to take a couple days off, but then we're going to definitely have a few scrim days in America before we leave, and then scrim and clean up as much as we can in Europe before Madrid starts.
Who are the teams that you're most looking forward to facing?
I would really like to play Genji. I think they just look great. I've been impressed with the way they're playing, with their strategy, with their growth. I feel like they're another team that's kind of come out of the woodwork this season, so that would be a really cool matchup. Carmine Corp too. Europe plays in such a wacky way. Yeah, I think Carmine Corp and Genji. Genji would be a more like meta type matchup, I think, and Carmine Corp would be, can we handle all the crazy things Europe's doing?
Right.
It'd be a lot of fun.
And then one last question. Obviously you guys qualified last night, but this game was also very important, and I know you tweeted about it. So can you elaborate a little bit more about why, you were so focused on this game today?
Yeah, I mean, it's really easy to get excited about Madrid, but we're here to compete and we're here to win for a whole year, and champs is always the long-term goal anyone's got, right? And I think the public, and I think even pro teams have kind of forgot or not really been focusing on the fact that there's two ways to get points in the next month. It's winning your kickoff and it's winning all of Madrid, and that's crazy. But I just reminded the guys, hey, this is a big deal. Normally, I don't like to add the pressure to the team, but after winning and making it to Madrid, I felt a need to make sure we weren't in too celebratory and kind of settled in of a mood. It's always a tricky balance, but yeah, really, it's basically like insurance to get to champs for winning your kickoff and winning Madrid. Like, as long as you have a pretty good league split, those points can push you over to get you in champs. So.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's all the questions I have. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, thank you so much to everybody for watching. The fans, the Sentinels fans, are everything and the reason we're doing what we're doing and able to do it. So love you guys.
Well, thank you so much, and good luck in Madrid.
Thank you very much.
All right.